Hello friends, today I'll brief you about the judgments of the Honorable Supreme Court and the orders and judgments of the Honorable Supreme Court. This is the topic. What happens in an order? When two litigants come to the Honorable Supreme Court, normally they'll pass an order which will be binding on both the parties. But that may not be binding on other people. But when it comes to the judgments, they are totally binding in the entire country. Why? Because under Article 141, 142 and 144, each and every order or judgment passed by the Honorable Supreme Court, they are binding on civil and judicial authorities, each and every person as well. You cannot say like those parties who have fought for in the Supreme Court and got a judgment have got nothing to do with me. No, the question of law in that particular case will be binding in the entire country. So there are two things in the part of a judgment. That is, one is ratio decidendi, that is called reasons of a judgment, and the another one is obiter dicta, that means observations of a judgment. These two form as integral part of each and every judgment. So in other countries, only ratio decidendi is binding in those countries, whereas in our country, even obiter dicta is binding. That's why whenever Honorable Supreme Court judges hear any matter, even if they make any oral observations, that will become a national headlines and breaking news, because they are always considered as binding part. And whatever they write in the judgments will become binding. It will become the rule of law. All right, there are so many statutes in our country. There are 891 central acts and thousands of state acts have been passed. But ultimately, you have even the Constitution of India as well as the major acts. But the interpretation is most important. You will have nothing in those acts or statutes. The interpretation flows only from the judgments of the Honorable Supreme Court. That you need to remember. And based on the judgments of the Honorable Supreme Court, the Honorable High Courts as well as the lower courts, they are bound to be implementing them. And whatever the Honorable Supreme Court adjudicates, that will become quite an important point of question of law, and it will be binding, as I told you already. So as I told you, the ratio decidendi as well as the obiter dicta, these are the integral parts of each and every judgment, and all the judgments are bound in the entire country. And yes, last but not the least, if anybody is violating the judgment of the Honorable Supreme Court, though you might not be a party, like the famous Lalita Kumari versus State of UP judgment, or else Arnesh Kumar versus State of Bihar judgment, you can directly file a contempt case either in your respective high courts, or else you can, under Article 215, that is, or else you can come directly to the Honorable Supreme Court and file a petition under Article 129. Even that is also possible. Why? Because the Honorable Supreme Court is a court of record. So in even the constitutional courts like high courts are also court of record. So whatever the judgments and the decisions that come out of the Honorable Supreme Court will be entirely binding in our whole country. Thank you, friends.